Good evening and welcome everyone to another edition of Friday with Friends. Tonight's friend, Vivek Kashyap. Hello, Vivek. How are
Hello,
you?
I'm
It's
good.
good
How
to
are you?
see you. Let me tell you a little bit about Vivek. He's a heart intelligence coach, and I love that term. And I also, read that you came from the tech field, so that's a beautiful harmony right there. So we have plenty of subject matter for tonight's class, which is entitled The Art of Harmony. And so before I go into you more, Vivek, when you hear the term, the art of harmony, what filters through your mind?
Harmony, for me, is like what comes to my mind is, how you see those amazing dance shows where there is a big troupe, there are a lot of people dancing together in a well choreographed manner. And if you see, like from the front of the stage, it looks amazing. But as you see from the top of the stage, how you see people are dancing and connecting with each other and just going by each other, like it's like perfect symphony. Everything is working as planned, and there is a lot of things which goes in the background. But from an audience perspective, it's like it's magic, right? So when things
Yes.
are working in harmony, it's magical.
So there's a science to it, but there's also it's an art.
Yes.
So in the same way that you think of harmony, according to the dictionary, it's a relationship of tones with one another, where they might not be the same, but they find a certain way, and it's really mathematical to work together. Were your original training in the technology field?
Yes, that's my original training in software, and that's what my full-time job is. I still work in the tech industry.
How did you make that leap into even thinking about being a heart intelligence coach from the technology field?
It's an interesting question. I never thought in that way, but I just share with you a little bit about my journey. So I got introduced to meditation, especially Raj Yoga meditation, when I was in my teens. And like I was like as a teenager, you don't really focus too much about meditation and all that. And I wasn't really looking for meditation. What happened was a meditation center opened in front of my house, and uh, and the sisters who were running the Raj Yoga meditation center were like neighbors, right? And in India, when you have neighbors, they're real neighbors. And what I mean by that is you can't escape them. so so I started going because my mother started going, she got benefited, and then everybody in my family, they started going. And then I learned about a lot of different aspects. And one thing which really helped me was I was I'm from a Hindu family background, so it was very religious family. And when I used to uh, sit and worship, we have so many gods. So I used to kind of time that, hey, every god I spend 2 minutes or 5 minutes, every god I should worship equally, because there are so many stories like, oh, if one of them gets upset, then it's not good. So even though I was worshiping, it was a little bit of stress, like I don't want to upset one.
Yes.
But when I started meditating, I actually got the introduction of what God is and where he resides and how I connect with that. So that's what allowed me to be free and really enjoy that journey. But after a few years of meditation, uh, I I realized something was missing, and I had all the information, I have all the knowledge, but it is not giving me the results which I really want. And that's when in my meditations I started sitting and sending out this message that, hey, I want to really feel authentic. What is authenticity for me? I really want to feel authentic. And then at that point of time, I was also looking what is my deeper purpose and meaning. So I went on a journey to look for things which gives me happiness. So I was good in music. I liked music. So I started doing DJing, right? And then I started doing photography. So I tried all of these different things because I was following the trail, what gives me happiness and joy. And then finally, I came across this field where people were teaching other people how to heal themselves, how to connect to their heart. And then I came across this one coach from Europe. He was based out of UK, and I practiced with him, and his method were very complementary to me, like what I was already practicing in my
Yes.
meditation. And it helped me to go deep dive and see all the blind spots which were there, even though I was practicing meditation, but we all have blind spots. So it wasn't clear. That's why when we practice something and we are not getting the results, so my approach is either the knowledge which was given, what I'm practicing is not accurate, or my application is not accurate. So one
Yes.
or the other is not working.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my application
That's a very
wasn't
good point. Very
Yeah.
good point.
So my application wasn't accurate in the sense because I wasn't aware of some of my blind spots. So when I started practicing that methodology, which was heart IQ or heart intelligence, it allowed me to get in touch with my feelings, which I was avoiding, or we all have certain things which we have carried from our childhood.
Yes.
And we all carry a little bit of anxiety to a certain degree. And you don't know it in day-to-day life unless you are under stress, then it shows up. So I was able to recognize a lot of these blind spots. I was able to recognize parts of me which needs to heal, and also able to recognize what is really amazing about me, and how do I balance both of these sides of me. And as I was able to do that, I was able to heal myself. And then I really realized that when I'm able to access all parts of me, good, not so good, and all of those things, then that's when I become whole. That's when I'm truly authentic. I don't need to hide anything. I don't need to keep certain things in the back because I want only a certain part of me to be viewed by people. So when I'm there with somebody, I'm fully there, all of me. And that's what authenticity was for me, in that sense.
And that's related so much to harmony. I think that and when there's a clutter or a mess, or noise is just many different things going on at once. But harmony, the notes are different, but you can take out the things that are unnecessary, and then what's left is music.
Exactly.
In a way. So what you've just described is that the first harmony is internal. That you describe really a purification of yourself, a cleansing of yourself, and the first thing that happens is just to observe it, to recognize it, which we didn't before because we didn't know that we had the power to alter that.
Yeah.
And so it's really a very empowering feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you look inside, as you're saying, you're internally harmonizing. The number one thing is, no matter what you find inside, you have to accept it. Mm-hmm. And if you accept it, that is the starting of the journey, and then you can say, okay, these notes are working fine. These other ones are a little out of tune. Mm-hmm. And I don't need to play the notes which I'm good at much more higher volume, so I can suppress the other sounds which I don't want to hear. I have to work through all of them by accepting them. And as I start working with them, I become the master, first of all, in understanding myself. That's the $64 million question. Who am I, right? And knowing who you are truly, all the parts of you, is the integral part of the journey. So once I'm able to understand that, then I can start working what's next. Because acceptance has allowed me to be clear with one thing, which is to be really real, right? Because unless I'm not real, I cannot make true progress.
I was just thinking of a word that went with just what you said. It is, authentic and transparent.
Yeah.
So I am sure that your experience is that you're also becoming more transparent as you go deeper into this self-harmonizing process.
Yeah.
Because people, when you're transparent, they can trust you because you don't have an agenda except to be present for them. And isn't that very empowering?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Because once I'm real, then I look at my own life, all the different parts of me, and really see, be in a very truthful manner. Am I happy, or am I not happy, or am I in denial that, hey, I'm not happy, but I want to be positive. I want to be happy. So everything I want to show it in that way, right? So to be real is the starting of the journey, and the next thing is, as I become present, I am able to see. As I become real, I'm able to accept, and then the transformation really starts after that. Okay, which parts I need to change, which parts I have to get help from, and move forward in that journey.
Well, that it's wonderful. So then what you come into contact with is harmonizing with others.
Yeah.
Which I cannot really do until I've begun to at least start this process on myself. What is your experience with harmonizing with others, especially in situations that are challenging?
So what I do is like harmonizing for me is not become a carbon copy of somebody else, that, oh, he or she has these qualities or these traits and I need to replicate it. Actually, it's opposite, just like when we see the dance that people are performing, there is line of people dancing together. So the first one who is in the line has a specific role. The second one, even though they are following the first one, has a slightly different role, and the following one has a different role, just like each node is slightly different. So
absolutely.
So instead of being replicating that, what they're doing is they are complementing. So harmonizing is complementing, even though there are certain qualities which would match. That's why people like each other. That's why they come in touch with each other, because they find some commonality. But in a close relationship, which are heart-based relationship, where you are spending time with each other, like if you're living with somebody, parent, child, husband, wife, partners.
Absolutely.
So you realize, oh, these are the qualities which this other person has, or these are the weaknesses which the other person has, and how can I complement them? So then we become a good team. Because a healthy relationship is a very amazing team, which is magical, right?
It is. And so the tendency is to try to remove what you think are the weaknesses in other people. That's the go-to thing, but of course that doesn't work. How do you navigate that field of dealing with maybe not everyone is authentic, there's in the process and different than you. How do you place yourself in such a way that you don't send someone off through making them feel less than?
So when a relationship is working and you can see the magic, it's very sacred, right? Because the connection you feel with other individual is very sacred. And this could be not just humans, with another animal,
Yes,
even though they
yes.
speak a different language.
Absolutely.
So I look at it and it's sacred, and I created the acronym SACRED. So I would share with you how I apply it. And then if you feel this works for you, you can definitely look at it. See, fundamentally, every relationship, the number one thing to be in relationship is what is required is safety. So people need to feel safe with each other. Because we as human beings, even though we are on a spiritual journey and all that, but number one thing is we need safety, because our minds are wired for survival, right? If we do not feel safe in somebody's company, we are never going to open up to them. We are never going to share who we are. Forget about the parts which are unhealthy. Even we won't show our good qualities because we don't feel safe in front of them. So if we take S for safety in sacred,
I get it.
That's really important. And safety is also required if you're going inside in your own healing process, because if you don't feel safe, you won't even go inside and touch those parts which need healing, because the fundamental rule of healing is what you can feel, you can heal, and what you cannot feel, you cannot heal. So if you have past hurt, past betrayal, past rejections inside you, you need to go there, feel those parts, because they're waiting for you, right? Like just like when you go to a therapy and people take you through what happened through your childhood and all of those, somebody's creating a safe space for you to go and investigate those parts. So if you are going inside, you need safety so that you can reach out to those parts.
Absolutely.
So S is for safety. Then second is A, which is for acceptance. So once you create a safe space, then you accept other person with whoever they are, with all their good qualities or not so good qualities, because everybody has certain weaknesses. And as much as you feel frustrated or upset with their weaknesses, they are also frustrated with their own weaknesses because they want to change it too, right? And probably they have a lot of people who are on a self-transformation journey. They're genuinely working to change that. So the second step is to accept them, because once you accept them, then they feel that there is no judgment in this space, right? I could have the courage to be who I am. So C is for courage here. So you build that courage in that connection, so that they are courageous to open themselves up, share their secrets, share their weaknesses, and they can genuinely ask you like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me with this? Or I need help with this. Because a lot of times people don't ask for help, because asking for help would require vulnerability. And in order to be vulnerable, you need to feel safe, right? So
Right,
they're all
absolutely.
connected.
So safety comes first, absolutely.
Safety comes first.
Yeah.
And as we are going through this, then they become courageous to ask for help. And then you can say, okay, fine, you are not good at this particular thing, or you're working through this right now, but I have this strength. I can compliment you there, right? So just like a duet, people are singing. So somebody is losing a little bit of rhythm, the other person picks up and helps through that song. So the next part is to have that courage, so that they can share, and then you can move forward. So when you can do that, you can provide that support, you can compliment somebody. The next step which naturally comes is respect. So respect is you have mutual respect for each other. Okay, this person is genuinely concerned for me. He or she genuinely has my back. So there is a natural respect which comes from the heart. And once you have that, then now you can face all the challenges, all the problems, whatever the issues comes, because you're now as a team, right? You're not fighting with each other. You're fighting with the weakness together, right? So as a team, you're fighting against the weakness, because most of the time the challenge arises in the world is because people say, oh, you have these weaknesses, go and fix this. And once you go and fix it, then I would accept you, then I would love you, then I would respect you. So now that person was already struggling, and then what you did was you already pushed him further away, and he doesn't have enough resources. But now if you have accepted them, you are not judging them. Now you are two people fighting against that weakness, right? So there is that respect which comes, and now you are enthusiastic about working together, taking on whatever the challenge is. So E is enthusiasm, or empathy also, because you have genuine empathy which comes. And then once that enthusiasm is there, you would see people working through challenges, people working through teams. Like even people have fought a lot of revolutions in the history, right? And things were really challenging, but they were genuinely enthusiastic because they're working together as a team, right? They knew that no matter what happens, we would give it our best shot, forget about the result, but we would live our life fully, right? In a very authentic manner. And the final step is when you're living through that, then D is delight. You enjoy life. You're not focused so much on results, because most of the time the suffering is because you're trying to control the outcome. But instead of that, you start living from place of delight, because you can depend on other people. You can depend on your other folks. And within this whole process, harmonization is already happening before you know.
It's
realize you look at that like,
you've given a very good a recipe for harmony, or to continue with your dance analogy, it's the choreography of harmony. And I like that it starts off with safety, because that's the very first thing. And it goes again with the transparency, when you're authentic, and people, it's a pure purification, really. Right. I think of transparency as being purification. And then others pick up on this, that you don't have an agenda. Absolutely. We're so used to in this world that there's always an agenda, that we have so many layers of protection even layers that we're not even aware that we have these layers, because it's how we survive through life.
Absolutely.
And when someone comes before us that's authentic, it stands out. And what my experience is these authentic people are great listeners, and they allow me, as I had a student one time say to me that what was the skill was that I allowed her to misbehave. He said, because otherwise the people are afraid that they're going to be wrong, and wrong is misbehave, and so they clam up, and you live your life not saying. So that's another thing about harmony. How does one harmonize with others? Well, you've already explained it, but I'd like you to touch upon it again. Harmonizing with others without losing your own voice. Because people might think of harmony as being that I have to step back and I give the respect. Maybe I'm not going to get respect back, but what about me? What about me? How do I keep my own voice while harmonizing and listening to others?
So for me, what I've realized is this process I shared with you, I have to do it with myself first. I have to apply this, and once I have this, then the side effect of this whole process is I build trust in myself, because I know myself better than anybody else. And if somebody comes and says you're this and that, it won't really matter. Even if the whole world is on the other side, it doesn't matter, because I have trust in myself. Second, because I have overcome these challenges, or I'm working through these challenges, I have trust in life also, or you can call it in drama. So when I have those two trusts, then, and I'm also getting, when I'm authentic, I'm also getting help from beyond, from God or from universe, whatever it is. So when I have these trusts working, then I'm absolutely sure who I am, why I'm here, and what's my purpose. So when I'm in relationship with somebody, I would have no challenge or no problem in expressing who I am. Because sometimes people say, oh, you need to put your foot and tell the truth. And people say it's a bitter truth. The truth doesn't need to be bitter, because you can still express yourself what is right and wrong, just like we are talking right now. It doesn't need to come out in a very harsh and very short manner, right? You can say, somebody can come and say, oh, I want this, and they want you to overextend yourself and you don't have time, or whatever it is. You can simply say, I'm sorry, but I can't do this. And no is a perfectly good answer. But in order for you to express your truth, whether it's no or yes in that particular situation, you need to know who you are, right? And if you know who you are, then it's much more easy. Because sometimes harmonizing might seem like, oh, just like you're saying, stepping back, or you play second fiddle. And it's okay. Sometimes you have to play second fiddle, but not from a place of weakness. You are still strong. And you can say, consciously choosing that I have to play second fiddle, rather than autopilot because you don't want to upset somebody or you want somebody to like you. That's why you're playing that part, right? No, that is, you are on autopilot, which means you don't even know why you're saying yes, why you're saying no, because deep down there is a desire. You want to be liked. You don't want to appear as non-empathetic. Spiritual people has a big problem where they say, oh, I want to always appear as empathetic. Yeah, you can be, but at the same time, you can have a very, very good healthy boundaries, and it's easy to do that.
It's really a whole wonderful journey, and I like the idea of trusting yourself. I often have said to people, just like in dancing, I'm a professional dancer, by the way, by profession.
So you know everything, basically, how to harmonize.
So I often share with people who are learning that I said, when I do this turn, I'm not sure that it's going to come out right, but I trust that I'll be able to navigate when I get to that position, because it's all part of it. And I don't carry around the energy of angst and anxiety about doing it, because that won't help me to reach what it is that I want. Let me concentrate my attention. And this, of course, is where the work comes in, is really with ourselves, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you really, I'm sure that you have discovered that by harmonizing with yourself, you've automatically harmonized with everybody in your life so much better than you ever have before.
Yeah. Because the biggest thing is I realize you drop this whole thing about you want to get out of this relationship something, basically you lose your agenda. You become present with what needs to move in that moment with that individual. And sometimes I still meet people who are still in their own world, and it's hard for them to harmonize because there is still so much going on with them inside they need to heal. And until unless you are not in that space, it's very hard. And if two people who haven't worked on themselves, who haven't healed parts of them which need to be healed, and they come into relationship, it would be very, very challenging to harmonize. They would run into issues of what is healthy boundaries, because both of them don't know what are healthy boundaries. They won't really know how to create safe space for each other because each one is carrying their own insecurities, right? So then you are basically going ping pong on this whole thing about, right? Like if somebody has fear of rejection, right? All of us have a little bit of it, like, oh, I don't want to get rejected or whatever it is. Then you start over pleasing people so that you don't get rejected, and then start over pleasing people. The other people at some point of time would feel that energy, or also would end up taking you for granted, and then something would happen, and the end result is you end up feel rejected or taken for granted, right? The very thing you are trying to avoid, you end up hitting the same wall again.
And it's so much easier to follow, as you have put forth, this sacred path.
Yes.
It's really good for yourself, and that automatically makes it good for everyone else. It's mind opening. It's authentic. It's true. It's real. I feel in harmony with you. And I'm sure we've given more than enough for everyone to listen to. So could you do like a 2 to 3 minute meditation commentary where you can just kind of guide us through some of the things we went through, so we can kind of consolidate and kind of magnify, because that's what meditation is really. It's a magnification of my thoughts of only the ones that I want and leaving the rest out. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So what I would focus is more on the inner part of us, the inner journey, so that we can experience some parts of these and how do we harmonize. Because if we can harmonize, just like you said, internally, it becomes easy to harmonize outside. Okay. So as you're listening, you can sit relaxed. You are welcome to keep your eyes open, closed, whatever works for you, and feel your feet on the ground. Keep your spine erect so the energy can flow. So take a deep breath in, all the way, fill your belly, your chest, and exhale. And as you exhale, you let go of anything which doesn't belong in this moment. Take another deep breath in, go all the way in, and exhale. And as you're exhaling, if a heavy breath or sound comes out, that's absolutely normal. And just allow yourself to breathe in deeply, breathe out deeply. And I want you to scan your physical body all the way from the top of your head to your feet. And check if there is a part which is not at ease, which is not relaxed. Maybe it's your neck or your shoulder, whatever it is. And I want you to take your awareness, your attention to that part, without judging, without trying to fix anything, just with the pure intention of feeling into that part. The keyword is feeling, not analyzing. So feel into that part. You can even breathe into that part, like you can breathe into your shoulder, your neck, and give it option to relax. And just listen what it's trying to communicate to you in this moment. And as you listen to that part, you can respond back to that part by saying, take whatever you want in this moment. The keyword is in this moment. and trust that it knows what it wants in this moment. The next step is I want you to check inside what all emotions are there in this moment. So as you tune in, see what emotions are there. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you excited? You're calm? Or maybe there is nothing. And you could have more than one emotion, like being happy and sad at the same time. And either way, it's okay. And if there is a mental story behind it, like you're feeling this because this happened, that happened, acknowledge that story and leave it aside. And just breathe into that emotion. You can also notice where you feel that emotion. You feel it in your chest, in your belly, in your throat, whatever it is. So as you breathe into that emotion, the space opens up a little bit. If it's uncomfortable emotion, maybe whatever the feeling is, maybe sadness or whatever it is, just tell yourself it's okay not to be okay in this moment. And just allow yourself to relax. And given what you're feeling, what emotions are there right now, what is it that you want emotionally in this moment? Not tomorrow, not day after, but in this moment. Like if you're happy, you're there, that's great. If you are struggling with something, you just want to stop struggling, just tell yourself it's okay not to be okay. Just relax into it. And trust that whatever you need in this moment to heal, you will be guided to that. Just breathe into that feeling of what it feels to trust. And just tap into that part of you which knows how to trust. And we all have experienced what it feels like when we trust. We can feel that energy into our body, into our bones. So bring in that awareness, what it feels to trust. You can breathe into it. And finally, I want you to connect to that part of you which holds your innate goodness, which holds all your qualities. And it's your higher self or soul, whatever you want to call it. And from that place, connect to the world beyond, to God, the universe, and see if there is a message for you in this moment. It could be a word, a sentence, a vibration, a feeling, or maybe pure silence. And either way, it's okay. So just tune in and see what is the message for you in this moment. So listen to that message and bring it with you. See if it resonates with you. And trust that in its own time, you would find the answers you're looking for. And as you practice this, just simple steps, what you're doing is you're coming into alignment with your higher self, with your soul, by trusting more. And by doing so, you are harmonizing inside all different parts of you. Because you're not judging, you're not trying to make anything right or wrong, trying to fix anything, but you're accepting everything the way it is in this moment. And by doing that, you are opening the doorway for all the help to arrive in this moment for you. So take a deep breath in, a breath of trust, and let it out. Thank you. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you so much, Vivek. It was not only was it a pleasure having this meeting, but also it's enlightening that we continue to get to have the opportunities to expand ourselves through harmonizing with others. So what we just did was harmonize with one another, and it feels good, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
It does feel good. I really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much for taking this path that took you on this open-hearted, this clean-hearted journey. And I hope to see you soon again. You know, our paths have now crossed, and let's continue this meeting.
Thank you.
So
Thanks so
thank
much for
you.
inviting. You know, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, it's really, I hope you get as much out of it as I do. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.